Hi everyone, this is Karen from the Historical Society of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. In this video, we're going to be talking about a historic site in Gladwyne, Montgomery County. The historic site, known as Woodmont, was completed in 1894. It was designed by noted architect William L. Price, and he had designed this mansion to look a little bit like the Biltmore Mansion, which is located in North Carolina. It was built for Allen Wood Jr., who is the owner of the Allen Wood Steel Company in Conshohocken, Montgomery County. The original size of the property of Woodmont was 400 acres, and it was located at one of the highest points in Montgomery County. Wood chose that site so that he could see his steel company from his own home. And naturally it was named Woodmont after the Wood family who owned the site. Allen Wood Jr. was born in Philadelphia in 1834. After completing his schooling, he went into the family business. Allen Wood would go on to become a congressman for Montgomery County and Bucks County in 1876. Allen Wood Jr. died in 1902, and his wife, Mary H. Yerkes, decided she didn't want to stay in the house. So she sold it to their nephew, Richard G. Wood, since they didn't have any children of their own. It's at this point that the property of Woodmont starts to become a little bit smaller as pieces of the property get sold off. It passes through a few different owners until around 1952-1953, when the Peace Mission movement purchased the then rundown mansion for $75,000. The Peace Mission movement was led by Reverend Major J. Devine, also known as Father Devine. His exact origins are debated amongst historians. Exact birth date and location is not currently known. It's estimated he was born around 1877. Father Devine was a very popular religious figure in the 20th century, and he ultimately was the founder of the Peace Mission movement. He spoke to large crowds throughout the eastern United States. In 1912, he started preaching that he was God and was fulfilling the prophecy of the second coming of Christ. While preaching throughout the United States, Father Devine was known for preaching for equality for all people, and he often was confronted by local populations, and including even some other preachers. In 1914, some of Father Devine and his followers went to Brooklyn and lived in a community setting. While living together, they avoided alcohol, tobacco, gambling, and sex. Many of his followers gave money to the movement and also changed their names. In 1919, the group moved to a predominantly white town known as Sayville in Long Island. During this time, there was some clashes with some of the neighbors who were unhappy with them moving in. In 1931, Father Devine and his followers were arrested for disturbing the peace when the police broke up a large party at his house. This interaction raised his public profile and aided in him being able to speak to even larger crowds in the general metropolitan areas nearby. It was at this time that Father Devine officially named his movement the International Peace Mission Movement. During the Great Depression, he became more political in some of his speeches. This included calling to an end to school segregation, opposing the New Deal, And this would ultimately bring him to the height of his movement. By the 1940s, he ended up moving to Philadelphia, where he purchased the Divine Lorian and Divine Tracy schools for him and his followers. By 1952-53, the Peace Mission movement officially moved to Montgomery County when they bought Woodmont. At this time, the following was much smaller than at its peak during the Great Depression, and Father Divine was starting to show his age and was not speaking as often as he had been. Father Divine died on September 10th, 1965, and he's buried in a mausoleum at Woodmont. Father Divine's wife, often referred to as Mother Divine, continued the Peace Mission movement until her death on March 4th, 2017. The Peace Mission movement is still around, and they still live in the Woodmont estate, although they're much smaller than they had been when Father and Mother Divine were still alive. Woodmont is open on some Sundays from April to October for tours. The Peace Mission movement has a website where you can check out details for that and look at what some of their dress code requirements and other requirements are for touring this historic site. Historic Woodmont was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1998, and a lot of the original mansion still stands to this day. If you like these videos, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube pages so that you can be notified when a new video is released. The Historical Society of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania is a private nonprofit library and museum located in Norristown, Pennsylvania. We rely on the support of the community, members, volunteers, and viewers like you. If you would like to donate so that we can continue making these videos, you may do so by clicking the donations link in the description section below, which will take you to our main website. Thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in a future video.